Just gonna collect my thoughts here before we get writing. You know, we shared some really good news last week, and not so good news this week. Let's hit the road and we'll talk about it. So we're going to set aside the things that we shared last week. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put a link up here so you guys can see what's new on the channel. You know, since we've gone to one video a week, this format, I haven't really addressed non-motorcycle issues. You know, we did talk about the pandemic a little bit. We talked about social justice just a touch, but I can't just go on today without addressing what's going on in my life right now. And my father-in-law last night passed away. I really haven't taken the time to process this. It's probably not even a great idea to be out here riding. Maybe we'll find a place to stop. Last night I stayed up with my wife, and we, you know, consult. The best you can console somebody who just lost somebody unexpectedly. I think, and this is just my feeling, when something like this happens, you just have to be there for someone. There's not really anything you can say when something like this happens. And like I said, I haven't taken the time to process this. We've been making plans to leave town tomorrow, doing the things that we usually do on Sunday today. You know, making arrangements with work and trying just to get things done. You know, I teach dance classes on Saturday morning, so we did that, and we pushed through. And we're gonna take a minute here and stop. And really, this is an appropriate place to park, and I'll tell you why here in a second. So the details are still fuzzy, are still unclear. Well, you know, I'm not going to share. I love you guys, and I'm fine with sharing lots of things with you guys, but I think this is just something I'm going to keep for myself. But I am going to just stop here, you guys, and take a minute. And, you know, it probably isn't fair that I'm doing this and I'm taking the time to tell you what happened without giving you guys details. Hopefully you guys can understand. And forgive me or lay off me. So let me just tell you why being here in this parking lot at this church is meaningful. My wife's side of the family is LDS. If you don't know what that is, it's Latter-day Saint, or Mormons as they're commonly known. So we're here at what they call the Stake Center here in my town. This is where he would go to church when they lived here in Woodland. So this is a significant place. Really, I'm just trying to find the right words, because I didn't prepare anything. I just knew that I had to take some time. My wife said it was okay for me to go ride, and I thought, why not throw the camera on? Because that's what I do. So my father-in-law, I've known my father-in-law. First of all, my wife and I have been together since we were seniors in high school. This year will be our 20th anniversary. And so I've known my father-in-law. Before we got married, we were together for about 5 years. So we've been together for like a quarter of a century. And so, you know, I've known my father-in-law since I was 17 years old. And he was more than just my girlfriend or my wife's dad. He was always somebody that I looked up to, a man of integrity. He was, you know, he liked archery, and he was an amazing carpenter. And he's everything that I'm not, right? He's sage, he's wise, he gives amazing advice, he gives great hugs. And I think instead of trying to give you guys details that don't matter as much to you, I'm going to tell you what I told my kids last night, who just lost their granddad. This is why we say I love you all the time. This is why when I give my kids a hug goodbye for the day, or a hug goodnight, I hold them tight. Because you don't know when the last one is coming. So my advice to you, without trying to, you know, opine too much on this, is don't take for granted the small things. You know, I just lost a friend to COVID last month, and another one of my friends just had a hospital stay, and also is just understanding that we cannot take anything for granted. My father-in-law always wanted to ride a motorcycle, and so every time he would see me ride, he would always tell me how jealous he was. And so, in his honor, I'm gonna go out for a ride. I'll take you guys with me, and we'll just ride around Woodland. This is where I grew up. This is where he raised my wife, his daughter, and we'll just ride. You guys can ride with me. But guys, if you have a hard time sharing your feelings, or, you know, telling people how you feel about them or about things, life is too short, and they can be taken at any time. So we really just need to keep that in mind. Now, we can't. This is another thing that I strongly believe in, that we can't live afraid, and we can't live always worrying about death. But on the contrary, we need to live like every moment might be our last. You know, people talk about their bucket lists or things that they want to do before they die. And really, one of my favorite motovloggers, Amanda Zitto, talks about doing the thing. Do the thing. Don't put things off until next week or next month. If you have the means and you've planned it out, go do it. Because life is just too fragile to not. If you guys have lost somebody, I give you my heartfelt condolences, whether it be to the pandemic or unexpected death. You know, there's a lot of mental health issues going on in the country right now because we're just stuck. And so take the time that you need to tell your loved ones that you love them. If it's safe to do so, you know, go visit somebody. Even if it's got to be a social distance visit. And the last thing that I'll say, and this is something I know he definitely believed in, is to give. Give freely. Give your love freely. Give yourself freely. If you have the means to give money or to food or anything to those who need it more, do it. I don't want to sound so preachy and make this video something that someone's like, oh, skip. Because that's not what I'm trying to do here, is preach at you guys. But if today is just one of those days where you see this video and you take the time to think about what I've said to you today, and it just makes you think for a second, I think my mission is accomplished. So with that said, we're going to get out on the road in honor of my father-in-law. I love you, Dad. Okay, let's go.